Continuing our look around the BC Hockey League season preview for 2016-17. Up next is the Wenatchee Wild, joined right now by the head coach and general manager of the Wild. It is Bliss Littler. Bliss, thanks so much for taking the time to chat here.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me.
So into your second season now in the BC Hockey League for the Wenatchee Wild. When it came to recruiting for your club this offseason and into last season, looking ahead to this upcoming season, what sort of holes were you looking to fill on your roster?
We just feel that we wanted to, if we could upgrade, we wanted to upgrade. We had a full season to work as members of the BCHL. And I think that with a couple of younger players that we got, I think that there's just a direct relation to being in the BCHL. That Slava Demin, a 2000 birth year, one of the better kids in Western United States and in really all of the United States. He played on our national team. He came to the league because we were in the BCHL. So we did have to find a goaltender. We believe Garrett Nieto will be our guy, but Chase Perry moved on, and we returned 6 forwards. So we really had to focus on finding 6 or 7 forwards as well as a few defensemen.
So when it came to some of the I don't want to say growing pains, but the fact is you didn't find out until relatively late in the offseason that you were joining the BC Hockey League last year. Now that you've got that year under your belt, do you find that you're better prepared heading into this season, knowing what's ahead?
The one thing that we did learn is we probably have to get a little bit bigger and stronger. Is we felt that going through a couple of rounds of the playoffs and then talking to other coaches in the playoffs that the players they let the players play a little bit more in the playoffs, and it's something that we're going to have to adjust to.
Now, obviously, for your team, recruiting is different than the other 16 teams in the BCHL. You've got some restrictions when it comes to territories and things like that. When it comes to piecing together the Wenatchee Wild, what all goes into it?
Well, no doubt there are definitely some restrictions. We have to have 14 players from our branch, and when you go through the makeup of the league, 50% of the league comes from outside of the province of British Columbia. When the season's all done, like Alberni Valley had 70% of their kids were from provinces or states outside of British Columbia. Where 14 of our 22 have to come from our branch, and so we really have to do a great job at winning some battles. That no doubt in the pecking order that in the United States that you have the United States Hockey League and you have the U.S. national team and the Canadian Hockey League. But we have to win some battles for some of those kids. That if we're going to get some high-end kids, that we have to win some battles in those areas. And then after that, we get 4 kids from any place in the United States, and we get 4 Canadians. So you have to make those imports be good players for you, but really you have to do a great job inside your own branch and win some battles there.
What did you learn last season when it came to the play on the ice? Is there anything that you found as the adjustment from and this might not even have anything to do with the fact that you're in a different league last season than you were in the season before. What did you learn, and is there anything that you recognized that you needed to change in terms of style or philosophy or anything like that?
Oh, you know what? I think that I think we play a really good style. Again, I think we play a style that kids want to play. That I think we're as up tempo as anybody in the league. I think we really try to get after it, and I think that's evident with half our kids moving on to play college hockey. Where so we're not going to change our style, but I do think that. We're probably one of the smaller teams in the league, and we would like to grow a little bit and get a little bit stronger.
As a coach, do you find that you're learning new things all the time?
Absolutely. I think any coach that's not learning, it's probably time to look for another job. I think coaches, really, if you're not going to camps or seminars in the summer or talking to people just trying to get better, I think you're cheating your kids. So I think that's it's very important that us coaches, that you're lifelong learners.
You guys have ended up with a pretty rabid fan base down in Wenatchee that embraced the BC Hockey League in a big way and embraced the Wild over the years, regardless of what league. What can fans expect from your club this season compared to last?
Well, I think we'll be a little more experienced than we've been in the past. I like the group of forwards that we returned. So, again, I think they'll see pretty much the same style that they've seen in the past. But with they haven't seen 11 or 12 returners in the past. But generally, you get 5 or 6 returners, and kids move on to the USHL, the CHL, or they move on to college hockey. And we were able to keep the majority of our kids that were eligible to come back. We were able to keep them from defecting to other leagues, which I think that speaks a lot for the BCHL.
So you talk about what you've got returning and you feel strong about the group of forwards that you've got, but if you could pinpoint one thing on this edition of the Wenatchee Wild, what would you say is the strength of your club?
I would guess that the strength of our returning forwards. I think that we have 6 returning forwards, and I think we have 9 junior hockey veterans. That I think that'll be the strength of this year's club.
What's the biggest challenge facing your team heading into this season?
I think the big challenge will be to integrate the new kids here into the BCHL, into the pace that we want to play at, and knowing that we still have to travel, that you spend a decent amount of time on the road and going into some buildings. They're tough buildings in this league to go into, but I think it's a big challenge, just getting the kids accustomed to having to hop on a bus. And almost every time we leave, it involves an overnight trip where we seem to head out for a lot of 2 and 3 game road trips, which is good. And I think the kids, there's a lot of team building that can be done when you're on the road that way, but you still have to teach the kids to be able to go into Chilliwack, know that it's a tough place to play, and it's a learning process when you go on the road.
It's easy to look at some of the top scoring returning players or a guy like Garrett Nieto and see, okay, this is obviously going to be one of the top returning players for the Wenatchee Wild. But are there any guys that maybe last year were a little bit under the radar that you're looking to play in a bigger role or you're expecting a breakout from this season that maybe fans casually aren't necessarily aware of that player?
Well, I think for the most part, our fans, they're seeing Brendan Harris, Charlie Combs, is our kind of our top returners. But I think you're going to see big years out of Dakota Raby, Troy Conzo, Colin Burston, and I think probably it might be the biggest surprise is Matt Baker. I think he's in for a huge year.
How important is it to have those players return, that guys who know what the expectations are like, are familiar with the system, the community, and that kind of stuff?
Well, I think it's as a coach, it makes things a lot easier. There's not quite as much coaching, and there's only so much you can say until eventually you get tuned out a little bit. So you need those veteran players that have been around and they know the culture that we want to have here, that they do a lot of the leading. Where I always feel that if the coach has to do all the leading, you're in trouble. That you need your best players to be your leaders and lead the right way, do the right thing, even when it's not convenient. When they're able to do that, and the coach doesn't have to do that, they're going to respond a little bit better on the third game of the weekend in the locker room in between the second and third period. Is what you have to say.
One last thing before I let you go, Bliss. What does it mean to be a Wenatchee Wild player?
Well, again, we want kids that are hungry, humble, and smart. That they're those 3 things. We're going to have a successful year. But as far as being here in Wenatchee, they got to be kids that are here for the right reasons. That they want to move on and play college hockey. That they want to be part of the community, they want to help with youth hockey, They want to help in the schools. They want to help at the senior center. They want to give back in life. That they need to be a good person off the ice, and on the ice we want them to be good hockey players and want them to play with an edge.
All right, Bliss Littler, the head coach and general manager of the Wenatchee Wild, looking ahead to the 2016-17 season. Bliss, thanks so much for doing this, and best of luck this season.
Thank you, Brian. Much appreciated.